Somewhere between the edge of being alive and feeling dead.
Well, Gerald, what do you think? We made it here from Kewah up to Kewah Lake.
Was quite the trip.
It's quite the trip.
Quite the trip. And of course, as we were just talking, that brings to mind why we are not going to give out as much information anymore. These aren't for everybody. And this trip was a prime example. This was probably one of the toughest ones with the most obstacles.
Yeah, you know, in addition to that, we've talked about this, at least on my channel. You talked a bit on your channel about changing what we're sharing, and this is definitely one of them. But we're going to talk today, as we said earlier, we're going to talk today about people often ask us, take me out on a hike. And, you know, especially locals, or we've even had international people message us saying, hey, take me out on a hike, I'm coming to your country, all this kind of thing. And we don't want to act like snobs or some kind of elitist or anything like that. But we want to share some thoughts. We want to share some thoughts on that topic before you go asking, not just us, but somebody to go on a hike, have you thought about these things?
Yes, very much. Start with fitness. Where does your fitness level fit in? Have you tested yourself to see where your fitness level lies, or do you just think it's pretty and you want to be there?
Yeah, like maybe a question is, why do you want to go on this hike, right? Is it so you can get some Instagram pictures? Getting to a place like this to get Instagram pictures?
Phew.
That's pretty crazy stuff.
Well,
this was one of the tougher hikes, multi-day hikes we've done.
Well, we can explain what this one was. This one, if you look at a map book, it tells you there's a road. Well, we can tell you there isn't a road. There was a road 30 years ago. And now it's probably 12 kilometers of bushwhacking through an older fence.
Yeah, like I honestly feel like I've been slapped in the face for... yeah. I'm going to say a good 12 kilometers by some nasty elders, a couple times poked in the eyes. Finally, I kind of had sunglasses on. I took them off because it was getting sweaty, and I put them back on because, you know, anyway, that's not what the video is about. But the key thing is there are difficulties on hikes, and like you said, fitness level. And beyond fitness level, it's one thing I can say is if you're going to ask somebody to go on a hike, and you're a person who, when you see people go on hikes, you're always asking, how are the bugs? That right there, if you're one of those people that says, how are the bugs? That's a problem. And I'll tell you why. Again, I'm not trying to be anything special, but bugs are such a small difficulty when it comes to these hikes. They're so, yeah, they're annoying. Yeah, they itch and stuff like that. But when you're going on 8 hours or something like that, and your concern is bugs, there's a lot worse things than that. And so if that's kind of the big question you're asking, you just need to be prepared for bugs when you're going on a hike, period.
Well, we'll go back to this one, 2.5 kilometers of swamp we walked through.
Yep.
Splashed through. If you see the video, you'll see it was all swamp, lots of bugs. You're not avoiding them in a swamp, so you're not coming here if you're trying to avoid bugs.
Well, and what kind of nasties did we get in that swamp? Not just mosquitoes.
The horse flies were nasty.
Horse flies, and they just bit through everything and whatever. So bugs, you know, that's probably, if that's a concern, you might want to think twice before you ask somebody to go on a bigger hike out there, because they're always going to be there. Anyway, I could go on for that one forever.
Well, what is your duration? Like, what kind of hike are you looking to do? Can you do...
Good point.
5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers? I mean, you might be fit, but what are you looking at? That's very important, because if you go out there on a hike with a group, and now the height where you want to go to is 9 kilometers to get there, and then there's people that really only want to go 5 kilometers and want to turn around, then what do you do?
Yeah, now your expectation doesn't match other people's expectation, and you're now affecting the hike, right? People spend all those hours they want to go, maybe push a few more kilometers to see the glacier here behind us. And, maybe you're one of the people who said, well, I've had enough after 5 kilometers or something.
Yep.
Right? So expectations need to be set. Lots of questions. But, when I think about that, another really important item to consider is, we're out here. Let's say you made it out here. Do you realize that we're taking your life into our hands? I don't think people realize that the commitment that comes with that question, like, hey, I'd like to go on a hike with you. We're taking your life in our hands. We've made a video about this. We've actually had some serious things happen on a hike. We're not going to get into that here, but you're asking potentially a big thing, because when especially some of these hikes, you go up to Viking Ridge or whatever, you're way up there. Go ahead.
This one with the serious river crossings.
Yep.
And we've been on lots, not just this one, but this one comes to light because we just did. They're definitely not for everybody. And you have to know that isn't for you. So it's something you need to think about. And do you have the right gear to do that?
Do you have the right gear? We've had situations with hikes where people show up to do a snowshoe up Sugar Bowl Mountain. Some of you watching the video may know the situation. And a couple people show up, they don't even have snowshoes. It's winter time, it's a snowshoe hike, and people showed up without snowshoes, and they're like, take me on a hike. And that was their expectation. They said, well, we'll follow you with our shoes. No, you will not follow the shoes, right? There's a lot of things that go into the question. So if you're gonna do it, I'm not discouraging from doing it, period, but I'm just trying to say, did you think about all the things that go along with it?
Do you have all the safety equipment necessary, and do you know how to use it?
Do you have the fitness level? Do you have the equipment? Have you done any hikes yourself to actually tell yourself what level you're at? And that's the thing is, when people ask to go on a hike, you'll even notice some of the local hiking clubs here, they'll say they won't take you on a certain hike unless you've had a certain level of experience already on such and such a level. Like if it's a very strenuous hike, they might say you had to have done a strenuous hike and stuff like that. So you need to be asking yourself some questions before you ask people to take you out, because there's a lot involved, there's a lot of risks. And especially when it's strangers, is it really fair to just come and say, hey, I want to go on a hike and whatnot? Like, or should you maybe get to know people?
Well, I mean, we have made an offer at one point, and
yes, we have.
We may still do that, take people out, but we are going to vet it if we do it.
Yeah.
And that means there's going to be some questions to answer, because situations turn pretty serious, and if something happens to either Mark or I, we need somebody else there with us that'll, help look after us. And we've been in situations where people aren't there, or they're not capable, and that's not okay. You have to understand that maybe you're the one that's going to have to do first aid, because maybe the person you were counting on is the one that gets hurt.
Yeah.
So. And
things like, you're asking how are the bugs? Well, what about the bears and all that other kind of thing? Like, now I want to be clear, we don't make a big deal about animals like that, whatever. They're just part of nature. You got to be prepared to deal with it. But are you one of those people that you see something, you're going to run away, or you're going to lose your cool and stuff like that? Is that fair to us? That you're going to come across something a little bit different than you've been used to, and now you're putting the whole group at risk, right? All I'm trying to say is a lot of things that come into this, and people have been injured over the years because expectations are not clear.
Yeah. Don't exceed where you belong just for the sake of being there, because it's beautiful, like this place.
Yeah.
It's a very tough place to get to.
Yes.
Very tough. And I don't know. We got here, and I haven't hardly moved since we got here. I'd used everything I had in me to get here.
Yeah.
You haven't been running any further, so.
Gerald, it was 30 degrees Celsius.
That too, but I mean, that happens
right?
too.
And that's another thing, right? Temperatures could be really cold, could be really hot. Do you have liquids? Do you have the right layers to adjust to the temperatures? I mean, look, it was 30 degrees, but we got puffy jackets on, and I got a warm jacket on, and I had my winter hat on earlier because it got pretty cold here by the glacier.
That's
right?
a little cooler here.
Preparation. So all I'm trying to say is, please think things through before you ask anybody out on a hike. There's a lot that goes into it, and there's clubs that do that, clubs that take out new people, and they also have requirements, right? Just like everyone else, of what you need to do to come. But still, I've been in clubs before, and you can lay out minimum requirements, and people still show up without those requirements to do the hike. So all I'm trying to say is, don't be selfish. Think things through. Do some research before you just go asking people.
It's going to be a challenge wherever we go, because we've done the curated hikes. Everybody's done.
Yeah.
And if you haven't done it, you will do it. So if we go, it'll be someplace like this, only not this hard to get to.
Yeah.
We have a few in mind, so. Yeah, I think that's good.
All right, so just to conclude and recap a few points, you have many years of experience publicly hosting hikes, and both public and private hikes. Been administering a Facebook hiking group, Prince Georgian area hiking, for a couple of years, and almost 20,000 members there. I always see people asking, they want to go on a hike with other strangers. Somebody take me out. And you can say all the right things, but still some people are going to show up on that hike with you who shouldn't be there for a number of reasons. The fitness level gap is a huge problem, and that's a problem when you say, hey, let's go on a hike, and then you're mismatched, and you stop and wait a lot. Well, you're going to start getting cold. You're going to get eaten by bugs. And there's lots of issues around that. But the other thing is people asking, how are the bugs, right? Well, that's the least of your problems. When you're backcountry, there could be bugs, there may not be bugs. It really shouldn't make a difference in terms of whether you're going to head out or not. And there's the expectations gap. It's a huge problem. People leaving the trail without letting you know, like if you're in a group of 10 people or something, or 5 people, and somebody just decides they don't want to go anymore, and they don't tell anyone. Everyone else freaks out thinking they're lost. There's been all kinds of drama around that. How much time you've allotted to do the hike. Some person thinks that it should only be 4 hours, but meanwhile it's taking 8 hours because of a mismatch of fitness or something like that, or expectation, or people didn't bring the right equipment, or it starts raining, or who knows what. Or other people have a desire to do extra things on the trail. This all leads to problems. You need to really communicate well. And it's a good idea to know each other, right? I had a hiker literally die in my arms on a hike that I've been on. Worst possible outcome. It couldn't be avoided, but it does bring reflection on really being prepared for these hikes, for things like that. What can you do to be ready if an emergency happens? And, if I don't know you, I'm taking you out on a hike. You're secretly asking me to take your life into my hands. You're asking me to be prepared to maybe not enjoy that hike, and to move at a pace that's comfortable for you, but not for me. Even if it means I'm freezing cold, or I'm getting eaten alive by bugs, or, you're asking me to adjust to your expectations for the hike. And if the equipment fails, or you're not prepared with food and water, you're asking maybe me to share mine, because it's maybe a life and death situation or something like that, depending on what's going on. So you're asking me to figure out how to get to places, and if you start screaming because you see a grizzly bear or some kind of animal like that, you're putting us both in danger. Maybe you're not prepared for the backcountry. I'm just saying, no, everything's not going to be perfect, but before you ask someone to go on a hike, you should be doing some basic research, backcountry knowledge, know what to do. Don't put it all on that other person. That's really not fair, because you're putting everyone in danger. And so anyways, just a couple takeaways. Do the work as best as you can, so that you can be prepared. If you're going to ask to go on a hike, get to know the people before you ask too much from them. It takes effort to do it. Go for a coffee, discuss things, get to know what you're getting into and who the people are and whatnot. It's a good idea. Learn as much as you can independently. There's lots of YouTube videos and websites out there these days. Maybe try an easier local trail first by yourself. Try it in some rain conditions and things like that, just to build your own confidence and your skill level and stuff like that. And if you can't, I get it, but just do what you can. go on group hikes first, right? Like here we have the Caledonia Ramblers, and there's other groups as well. And that way you can kind of build up confidence and see what the hike is like. Communicate really well in order to understand and share expectations for the hike in order to minimize a bad experience. Be honest. Do not start at a difficult level of hike before testing yourself on the easier ones. Use common sense, and YouTube is your friend. So much can be learned by watching the right videos and taking the time to kind of see the vibe of really what you're getting into, and it just helps to prepare. So anyways, I hope that helps. I hope it gets the message across, and I hope it helps you get out in the backcountry, but in a way that's prepared and that's fair to everyone. Anyways, that's it.